All right, so this is how I always do this with the vehicle on the ground. You know, I can put this up on the car lift down there in my father's garage, but this is probably going to be a quick and easy job, and honestly it just takes longer to get a vehicle situated up on a lift. So I'm going to do this on the ground the old-fashioned way, which is probably how most of you guys are going to do it. So I got the wheels chalked here with a couple of blocks, and on these Toyota Tundras, these bolts, at least on mine, are 19 millimeter. So I'm just going to go ahead and run the bolts off of the U-bolts here. I already got 2 of them done. Boy, that one right there was barely even on. Good grief. Very little torque on those front ones. The rear ones were a lot tighter than that, which is interesting. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take this bottom plate off. Maybe. Looks like the nuts are frozen. Excuse me, the nuts came off easy, but the washers are frozen on here, on the front ones. They may have some kind of a retainer on them. So let me go grab a screwdriver and I'll pop those off real quick. Sometimes things look like they're gonna go pretty simply. That's always the case for me. So it looks like what's going on here is that like I said, the washers are just kind of like stuck up on there. Not a big deal, but they could have some corrosion in there. Very possible. I mean, this truck's got 90,000 on the clock, so, and it's a Toyota, so some of these fasteners that Toyota uses are pretty bad about corroding. There we go. That's more like it. Take that bottom plate off, and now go ahead and slide these old U-bolts off. All right, and there you go. Now obviously you're going to reuse this top plate right here because that's got your bump stop built onto it, and obviously you're going to reuse your bottom plate, but all this old hardware is going away because the kit came with new hardware. So let's take a look at the new kit. All right, got my trash can workbench here. So the new kit comes with these solid, and I mean solid, 1-inch blocks to lift the rear, and all new hardware, new U-bolts. These nuts are a little bit greater than 19 millimeters in size. I'm gonna have to see what fits these, might be 21, but you got all new hardware here. One of the reasons I went with this kit specifically is that a lot of the reviews on Amazon indicated that this hardware was better. I mean, anybody can cut out some 1-inch pieces of steel, but the hardware is the big deal, guys. So if you're gonna buy this stuff from Amazon or eBay, make sure you get some a kit that has hardware in it that has really good reviews, because obviously these 4 U-bolts are what is holding your entire rear axle under your truck. And if you're going to be hauling and towing down the road, your safety, your family's safety, and everybody else around you's safety depends on this hardware right here. So, like I said, this particular kit, made by a brand called Heavy Metal Suspensions, had really good reviews. Everybody said the hardware was great compared to the other stuff they had seen, and that's what drew me to this particular kit. So now, all we got to do is the reverse. We'll put these blocks in. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Put these new U-bolts on there and tighten them down. All right, so as you can see, what I've done here now is I've put a floor jack under the front, right in front of the spring perch. And I jacked up the leaf spring right in front of the perch, just enough that I now have room to slide this 1-inch spacer into place. Just like that. And then I'll let it back down and make sure that those dowel pins line up. Obviously, you notice that you've got a pin on here, and on the back side there's a hole. So all of that has to line up with the factory stuff. When you go to put this together, you'll be able to see it pretty easily. And that's all there is to it. I'll just let it back down and put the new U-bolt hardware on and do the other side. And make sure to put this axle snubber back up on top. And there is actually something that locates it up there. It's the nut that ties together all of the leafs in the leaf pack. Ooh, they do have new washers. I was wondering about the washers. Obviously there's new nuts in here, but I wasn't sure if they gave me new washers or not. Looks like they actually did, so that's good. So I'm going to take one of my new U-bolts, slide down in here, just like that. The one in the front's a little harder to get to, but not too bad. And this can be the tricky part, because when you go to put this bottom plate back on, you have to kind of have to be an octopus. It would help to have a bunch of different hands. And occasionally you also have to squeeze that new U-bolt together a little bit to get it to slide up on there. So yeah, I would say this is not what you would call hard to do, but this is probably one of the most time-consuming portions of the job. I'm just trying to get all this stuff lined back up and get it to where you can sandwich it all back together. So with that 1-inch lift block in the rear, it's just going to look a lot better. I mean, I've got just a little bit of rake in the back, which is what you want if you're going to be doing some towing and hauling. You want to have a little bit of rake back there to account for the load, and that's what I was looking for. But overall, I think it's going to be pretty nice. And this kit was less than $100, so can't beat that with a stick. Hey guys, so like I said, I just wanted to kind of show you how easy that is. I mean, it's pretty simple for anybody that has some tools and a floor jack and a little bit of time. You can do this at home and save yourself a bunch of money. If you take it to a shop, they're probably going to charge you at least an hour labor. So you can save $100 or more by doing this by yourself at the house. So that's going to be the finishing touch on the suspension portion of the Tundra. I don't want to do anything else to the rear end of it right now. Honestly, the Bilstein shocks that I put all the way around, they stiffened up the ride quite a bit. The 10-ply tires also stiffened up the ride quite a bit. So from when I got this truck to now, the ride quality has changed significantly. It feels a lot like a 3/4 ton or 1 ton truck now. I wouldn't say it's bad because it does control the body roll a lot better. And if you hit those rough imperfections out on the highway, it controls those a lot better too. So it's not bad, it's just really firm. So if you don't like a firm ride, you probably wouldn't like it. But it doesn't bother me at all because I use my trucks as trucks, right? So I need that nice firm suspension anyway. So yeah, I mean, it rides a lot firmer now. I don't want to do anything else to the rear end right now. I'm just kind of leave it like this for a while and see how that goes. The one other thing I might do, I still want to get rid of this chrome. You know, I put that TRD grill and front end on the front of this truck, and I just want to get rid of this chrome. I'm still thinking about how to go about doing that the best way because I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. But pretty much I'm getting close to having this thing done now, so I can move on to the next project, which I'll be showing you very, very soon. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll talk to you later.